The man who trusted numbers above all else learned the hard way that a financial portfolio can be perfectly balanced even when a life is built on a lie. For 5 years, I was the devoted husband, the methodical provider, and the oblivious fool. Tonight, a pulsing dot on my phone's GPS is leading me not to my wife's girls' night, but to the lavish rooftop bar of the Grand Meridian Hotel, where the perfect facade of my life is about to shatter. My name is Ethan Hayes. I'm 33 years old, and I'm about to tell you how my perfect life revealed itself to be a perfectly constructed lie. I'm a senior accountant, the kind who works from home, managing corporate tax portfolios for mid-sized businesses while wearing pajama bottoms and a dress shirt for video calls. I color-code my expense reports. I never miss a deadline. I pride myself on being methodical, disciplined, the guy clients trust with their financial secrets because I understand that numbers don't lie. People do. 5 years ago, I married Rachel. God, I can still remember the first time I saw her at our mutual friend's wedding. 25 years old, electric in a way that made everyone else in the room fade to gray. She was holding court by the bar, telling some story that had 3 guys hanging on every word, her laugh cutting through the reception hall's music like champagne bubbles rising to the surface. When she caught me staring, she winked. Just like that. No hesitation, no games, just pure, unfiltered confidence. "You look like you need rescuing from a boring conversation," she said, sliding up next to me during the cocktail hour. "I wasn't having any conversation," I admitted. "Even worse," she laughed, handing me a drink I hadn't asked for. "I'm Rachel. You're going to dance with me later." And I did. All night. We were good for 2 years. Really good. She worked full-time at a digital marketing agency downtown, and we'd created this perfect rhythm in my modest starter home, the one I'd bought 3 years before meeting her, back when I thought success meant having a mortgage. She'd blast music while cooking weekend dinners, dancing around my kitchen with a wooden spoon as a microphone. We'd binge-watch crime documentaries, her head on my chest, solving murders before the second commercial break. We talked about kids, about upgrading to a bigger house, about growing old together. Then, in our 3rd year of marriage, everything shifted. "I can't do it anymore, Ethan," she sobbed one Thursday night, mascara streaking down her face. "My boss is toxic. The stress is killing me. I throw up every morning before work." I held her while she cried, feeling her whole body shake against mine. "Then quit," I suggested. "We'll figure it out." "But the mortgage, the bills," she protested weakly. "I make enough. More than enough. You focus on us, on building a real home. Take some time to figure out what you really want," I assured her. The relief in her eyes was immediate. "You mean it? You'd do that for me?" she asked. "Rachel, I'd do anything for you," I replied. I meant it, every word. That was 2 years ago. Now, in our 5th year of marriage, I work 50 to 60 hours a week from my home office while Rachel exists in an entirely different orbit. She wakes up at 10, sometimes 11, spends 2 hours at the gym, and Christ, she's gotten fit. Her body is tighter, more toned than when we met. I used to feel pride when other men noticed. Used to. Her days are filled with lunches that last 3 hours, shopping trips that max out credit cards I pay off monthly, and an endless rotation of girls' nights with Maya, Simone, and Jess, her friends, who all somehow managed to not work while living in designer clothes. I never questioned where their money came from. Never questioned much of anything. I pay for everything. The mortgage on this house she barely cleans, the utilities for lights she leaves on, the groceries she doesn't cook, her BMW lease, her credit card statements. I don't examine too closely. She was supposed to take care of the home while I provided. But increasingly, I find myself doing dishes after midnight, starting laundry at dawn before client calls. The house smells like her perfume and neglect. The intimacy stopped being about us months ago. Once every few weeks, if I'm lucky. And even then, she feels distant, mechanical. Like she's performing a duty rather than making love. She keeps her eyes closed, never says my name anymore. "Let's go away next weekend," I suggested last Tuesday. That bed and breakfast in Napa you bookmarked? Can't. Maya needs me for her thing, she replied dismissively. What thing? I pressed. Just a thing. Don't be controlling, Ethan, she shot back. Controlling. The word she'd started using whenever I asked questions. When did you get home? Controlling. Who were you texting? Controlling. Why is there a receipt for a hotel bar in your purse? Controlling. So I stopped asking. But the feeling in my gut, that cold twist that wakes me at 3 a.m., that never stopped. She's always on her phone now, angling the screen away when I walk past. She showers immediately when she comes home, even from lunch. She bought lingerie I've never seen her wear. Her phone buzzes at midnight, and she claims it's Jess having another crisis. I tell myself I'm overthinking. Marriage requires trust. Rachel chose me, married me. She's just finding herself with all this free time. The yoga classes, the new wardrobe, the mysterious appointments she's vague about. It's all self-improvement, right? Right? Thursday night, she kissed me goodbye at the door. Quick, perfunctory, her lips barely grazing mine. Girls' night at Maya's, she announced, already halfway out. Don't wait up. Text me when you get there, I called after her. Drive safe. Always do, babe, she replied carelessly. Babe. When did I become babe instead of Ethan? When did our goodbye kisses become obligations instead of promises? I settled into my home office to finish a quarterly report, the house eerily quiet, without even the pretense of her presence. An hour later, my phone buzzed with a location notification. We'd shared our locations years ago. A safety thing, she'd said, in case something ever happened. Something was happening. The little dot that was supposed to be my wife wasn't at Maya's suburban house in Pleasanton. It was downtown, pulsing steadily at the Grand Meridian Hotel. I stared at that dot for 5 minutes, watching it stay perfectly still. My hands started shaking. Why would she lie? What possible reason could she have for being at a hotel? The quarterly report sat unfinished on my screen, numbers blurring as my vision tunneled to that single damning dot on the map. I tried to rationalize it the entire drive downtown. Maya's birthday was next week. Maybe they'd decided to celebrate at the hotel's famous rooftop bar instead. Maybe Rachel forgot to mention the change of plans. Maybe her phone's GPS was glitching. Maybe. My hands gripped the steering wheel so tight my knuckles went white. 20 minutes through Thursday night traffic, every red light an eternity, every rational thought fighting against the sick certainty spreading through my chest. The Grand Meridian's glass tower reflected the city lights like accusations I wasn't ready to face. I parked 3 blocks away, didn't want her to spot my car if she happened to leave. The walk felt both endless and too quick, my footsteps echoing against concrete, matching my hammering heartbeat. The hotel lobby was all marble and modern art, the kind of place that charges $30 for a martini and makes you feel underdressed in anything less than Armani. The elevator to the 24th floor took 43 seconds. I counted every one. The doors opened to Eden, or hell, depending on your perspective. The rooftop bar throbbed with bass-heavy music and amber lighting that made everyone look like they were filmed through honey-young professionals clustered around high-top tables, gesturing with cocktails that cost more than most people's hourly wage. The windows offered a panoramic view of the city, lights twinkling like fallen stars. I scanned the room methodically, the accountant in me cataloging faces, positions, exits, booth by booth, table by table, until... There, corner booth, pressed against floor-to-ceiling windows. Rachel was straddling someone's lap, her dress hiked up to mid-thigh, her body moving in a rhythm I recognized but hadn't felt directed at me in months. The man beneath her, tall, athletic, with that carefully styled hair that screamed money, had his hands on her waist, her neck, pulling her deeper into a kiss that looked like they were trying to devour each other. My vision went red, then white, then crystal clear. I pulled out my phone, some primitive instinct overriding the shock. The record button felt like a trigger under my thumb. I captured everything. 30 seconds of her fingers in his hair, 15 seconds of his hand sliding higher up her thigh, 10 seconds of her throwing her head back in laughter at something he whispered. The kind of laugh she used to give me, back when I was enough. 1 minute? 2. They were so lost in each other they wouldn't have noticed if the building caught fire. I walked forward, each step deliberate, controlled. 3 feet away, close enough to smell her perfume, the one I bought her for Christmas, mixed with his cologne. "Hey, babe," I said, my voice cutting through their bubble. 2 words! That's all it took to shatter their world like I'd thrown a brick through the window. Rachel's head snapped up so fast, she might have given herself whiplash. The color drained from her face like someone pulled a plug, leaving her looking ghostly under the bar's amber lights. She scrambled off his lap, knocking over a martini glass in her panic. It shattered on the floor, gin pooling across the table like spilled secrets. "Ethan? What? Why are you here?" she stammered, her voice high with panic. The man looked irritated, confused, like I was interrupting something important. "Who the hell is this?" he demanded. I kept my voice deadly calm. "I'm her husband." You could have heard a pin drop in the sudden bubble of silence around us, even with the music still pounding. The man's jaw literally dropped, a cliché I'd never seen in real life until that moment. He looked at Rachel, then back at me, his face cycling through confusion, understanding, and panic. "You're married?" he shouted at her. "You told me you were divorced." I held up my phone, turned the screen toward them. The video played on repeat, their passionate embrace in perfect HD clarity. "Got everything on camera, Derek," I announced. I'd seen the name on her phone earlier that week, a text preview that popped up during dinner. "Can't wait to see you Thursday, Derek." She'd grabbed her phone so fast she knocked over her wine. Derek Lawson, I could tell from his reaction he was someone who mattered, someone with a reputation to protect, stood up, hands raised like I was pointing a gun at him instead of a phone. "Look, man, I had no idea," he started explaining frantically. "She said she was single. I swear I wouldn't—" I didn't let him finish. My fist connected with his jaw with 5 years of suppressed suspicions behind it. He stumbled backward, crashed into the booth, his expensive suit suddenly not providing much protection. I hit him again. Ribs, stomach, the soft spots that would hurt for weeks. He tried to block, but I was running on pure adrenaline and betrayal, a combination that made me feel invincible. He collapsed to the floor, curled up, groaning. Designer shoes scuffed, silk tie askew. Mr. Perfect reduced to a whimpering mess on sticky bar carpet. The entire rooftop had stopped to watch. Phones out, recording, some people actually cheering. I'd become their Thursday night entertainment, the cuckold husband getting his revenge in real time. Someone would definitely post this online within the hour. Rachel was screaming, "Stop! Please stop! Ethan, you're going to kill him!" she wailed. I turned to her, my knuckles bleeding, breathing hard. She was crying, black mascara creating rivers down her cheeks, reaching for me with hands that had just been all over another man. "Don't," I commanded, the single word sharp enough to cut. She froze. "Don't come home. Pack your stuff and leave." I walked out through the crowd that parted like the Red Sea, past the stunned bartenders, past the security guard who was just now realizing something had happened, into the elevator, down to the lobby, out into the cool night air that felt like the first clean breath I'd taken in months. In my car, hands still shaking, I forwarded the video to David Brennan, a divorce attorney I'd once worked with on a client's estate planning ruthless, thorough, and expensive. Worth every penny. Subject line, emergency, need you tomorrow morning. I didn't go home. Couldn't face our bed, our kitchen, our life that was now just evidence of my stupidity. I checked into a Marriott across town, lay on sterile white sheets, and stared at the ceiling while my phone exploded with calls and texts from Rachel. 17 missed calls, 6 voicemails I deleted without listening. Text after text. Please let me explain. It's not what you think. I love you. Ethan, please. I'm sorry. Please come home. At 2 a.m., David Brennan replied, "Saw the video. Don't delete anything. Don't talk to her. Come to my office at 8 a.m. We're going scorched earth." Scorched earth. I like the sound of that. Friday morning, 8 a.m. David Brennan's office occupied the entire top floor of a building that screamed success. Glass walls, chrome fixtures, a view that made you understand why his retainer started at $10,000. He was studying the video on his laptop when his assistant showed me in, replaying it with the clinical detachment of a surgeon examining a tumor. "This is a gift," he said without preamble. "Adultery, caught on video, in public. Multiple witnesses. You own the house outright, purchased before marriage. She has no job, no income, documented infidelity. We file for fault-based divorce. She gets nothing." "Nothing?" I repeated, the word tasting like vindication. "No alimony, no property settlement, nothing," he confirmed. "She quit her job 2 years ago, voluntary unemployment, no grounds for support. House is premarital property. She never contributed to mortgage or improvements. Clean break." I leaned forward. "I want her out. Today." David smiled, the kind of smile sharks probably have before feeding. He made a call, spoke in rapid legal terms, then hung up. "Process server will have papers to her within 2 hours. After that, she's trespassing on your property," he informed me. I texted Rachel from a burner phone David provided. My real phone was evidence now. "You can stay until the papers arrive. After that, you're trespassing." Cold, surgical. Everything our marriage hadn't been. By noon, she was served. By 12:15, my phone had 43 missed calls. She showed up at my hotel. I don't know how she found me. But I'd already switched rooms, called security when she wouldn't leave the lobby. Her texts devolved from begging to anger to desperation. "How can you do this? 5 years means nothing? I made one mistake. You're destroying my life." I screenshotted everything, forwarded it to David. Evidence of her admission, her instability, her guilt. But the legal decimation was just the beginning. The video from the bar had already started circulating. Someone posted it on Instagram. Faces blurred, but anyone who knew us could tell. "Husband catches cheating wife at Grand Meridian," already had 50,000 views by Friday afternoon. I made strategic calls. First, Robert and Linda, Rachel's parents. Conservative first-generation immigrants who'd treated me like the son they never had. Robert answered on the second ring. "Ethan, how's my favorite son-in-law?" he greeted warmly. "Robert, I need to tell you something." "About Rachel," I said carefully. Silence. Then, "What has she done?" he asked, his voice already heavy with dread. He knew. Somehow, he already knew. "Parents always do," I explained calmly, offered to send the video as proof. He stopped me. "No, I believe you. I'm sorry, Ethan. We raised her better than this," he said quietly. Within hours, Rachel's parents disowned her. Her mother, who'd babied her, defended her, enabled her, left a single voicemail that Rachel played on speaker when she was begging me to answer. "You've brought shame to this family. Don't contact us again." Next, the friend group. Maya was horrified when I told her Rachel had used her as an alibi. "She was supposed to be at my house?" Maya exclaimed. "Ethan, I haven't seen her in 2 weeks." The group chat exploded. Simone and Jess had suspected something. Rachel had been distant, secretive, always on her phone during their lunches. When they saw the video, they cut her off completely. Blocked her number, removed her from group chats, unfriended her on everything. Derek Lawson fared no better. The video reached his workplace. Someone recognized him and forwarded it to HR. Turns out Derek was a pharmaceutical sales director with a history of inappropriate relationships. This public scandal gave them grounds for termination. His $180,000 salary gone. His reputation in the industry destroyed. His LinkedIn updated to seeking opportunities within a week. Rachel was living in an extended stay motel, paying with credit cards I'd canceled. She had no savings. Why would she, when I covered everything? No job references after 2 years of unemployment, no support system. Her carefully curated Instagram life collapsed to nothing. The divorce proceeded with brutal efficiency. Rachel got a public defender who tried arguing for temporary support, but David demolished every argument with evidence and documentation. The judge, a woman who'd clearly seen too many cheating spouse cases, reviewed the video once and ruled in my favor on every point. "Mrs. Hayes," the judge addressed Rachel, looking over her glasses at Rachel, who sat hunched in a borrowed suit. "You voluntarily left employment, contributed nothing to the household financially, committed documented adultery, and now expect support from the man you betrayed?" Petition denied. 60 days after that night at the rooftop bar, David called with the news. "It's done. Final decree signed. She got nothing. No property, no alimony, no shared debt. You're free," he announced. I hung up and stood in my home office. My home, my office. Looking out at the yard I'd need to start maintaining myself. The house felt too quiet, too big, too full of ghosts. But it was mine. Every square foot purchased with my discipline, my work, my trust that had been weaponized against me. That evening, I drove past her motel. Her BMW was gone. Repossessed, probably. The parking lot was full of cars held together with duct tape and hope, people who'd hit bottom and were trying to climb back up or just trying to survive another day. I wondered if she was in there, staring at walls that weren't hers, wearing clothes from discount stores instead of Nordstrom, eating ramen instead of sushi. Then I drove home, parked in my garage, and closed the door on that chapter forever. 3 months after the divorce was finalized, 5 months since that night at the rooftop bar, I'd gutted the house of memories like cleaning out an infection. New furniture, new paint, new art that didn't remind me of weekend antiquing trips where she'd charm sellers into discounts. I started working out again, my body remembering what it felt like to move without the weight of suspicion, reconnected with friends who said they'd noticed something was off but didn't want to interfere. Landed 2 high-profile clients who appreciated my attention to detail, my reliability, my inability to lie even about numbers. I was building something new from the ashes she'd created. Then, on a gray Saturday afternoon in November, my doorbell rang. I opened the door, and there she was, a ghost of the woman I'd married. She'd lost weight, the kind that comes from stress, not gym sessions. Her hair hung limp, unstyled. She wore Walmart clothes that didn't fit right, the kind you buy when you need something clean more than something flattering. Her eyes were hollowed out, red-rimmed, ancient. "What do you want?" I asked, my voice flat, emotionless. I'd practiced this moment 100 times in my head. In some versions, I slammed the door. In others, I laughed. In reality, I felt nothing. "Can I come in?" she pleaded. "Please, just for a minute. I need to talk to you." I could have refused, should have. But some perverse curiosity made me step aside. I let her into the foyer, no further. She didn't deserve to see what I'd built without her. She looked around at the changes visible from the entrance, her face crumpling. "You've changed everything," she observed, her voice breaking. "Fresh start," I replied simply. "Ethan, She took a shaky breath. "I wanted to tell you I'm sorry. I know it doesn't mean anything now, but I need you to know I'm sorry for what I did, for how I treated you, for everything." "For cheating on me?" I cut in, my voice turning sharp, surgical. "For lying about where you were going? For letting me pay for your entire life while you met another man?" She flinched like I'd slapped her. Tears spilled down her cheeks, not the pretty tears she used to deploy during arguments, but ugly, desperate ones. "I know," she sobbed. "I was selfish. I was stupid. I took you for granted. I thought I could have everything. The security you gave me and the excitement with Derek, I convinced myself I deserved it. That you wouldn't find out. That somehow it would all work out. That you could get away with it. I finished for her. Yes, she admitted, her voice breaking completely. And I'm paying for it. I've lost everything, Ethan. My parents won't speak to me. They told the rest of the family I'm dead to them. My friends want nothing to do with me. I'm working retail at a discount store for $14 an hour. I live in a studio apartment that smells like the last 10 tenants cooking. I can barely afford groceries. Derek blamed me for ruining his career, said I should have told him I was married. I studied her. This stranger wearing my ex-wife's face. Waited for something. Sympathy, satisfaction, anger. Nothing came. I'm not here to ask you to take me back, she continued quickly. I know that's impossible. I just needed you to know that I understand now what I had, what I threw away. You were good to me, Ethan. Better than I deserved. And I destroyed it because I was bored and entitled and thought the grass was greener. Why are you really here, Rachel? I pressed. She hesitated, then pulled out a folded paper. Rental application denial. Bad credit, no references, no cosigner. I'm being evicted, she confessed. I can't make rent anymore. No one will approve me for anything. I tried getting a loan, but I have nothing. No assets, no cosigner. I'm going to be homeless in 2 weeks. There it was. The real reason. She'd come for salvation, assuming that somewhere under my anger was the man who'd always saved her. That man was dead. She'd killed him in a rooftop bar. So you came here to ask for money, I stated. No, I mean, she faltered, the lie dying on her lips. I thought maybe you could co-sign an apartment application or let me stay in the guest room for a month until I get on my feet or... Get out, I interrupted. Ethan, please, she begged. You made your choices, I said firmly. You chose to cheat. You chose to lie. You chose to throw away a marriage where you had everything because you wanted the thrill of sneaking around, and now you're facing the consequences. I'm not your safety net anymore. I have nowhere to go, she wailed. That's not my problem, I replied coldly. I opened the door wider, November air rushing in cold and unforgiving. You have 2 minutes to leave before I call the police for trespassing, I warned. She stared at me, searching for any crack in my resolve, any hint of the man who used to love her. She found stone. Finally, she turned and walked out, shoulders shaking with sobs that might have moved me once. I closed the door, locked it, leaned against it for a moment. My hands were steady. My heart rate was normal. I didn't feel triumphant or cruel. I felt free. I walked to my home office, opened my laptop, and got back to work. Rachel's problems weren't mine anymore. They never would be again. 1 year after that final confrontation, 16 months since the night at the rooftop bar, I sit on my deck, the October morning crisp and clean. The backyard I've transformed into my personal sanctuary spreads before me. New landscaping, a fire pit where friends gather on weekends, an outdoor kitchen where I've learned to cook for myself and others. My coffee tastes like victory and peace. The promotion to partner came with a 6-figure raise and profit sharing that would have made Rachel salivate. I mentor junior accountants now, teaching them about numbers but also about value, knowing their worth, protecting their assets, recognizing when someone's books don't balance in more ways than one. I volunteer at a financial literacy nonprofit, teaching people to spot financial abuse in relationships, to maintain independence, to never become someone's meal ticket or mistake their wallet for love. Elena and I have been dating for 4 months. She's an architect, 34, with her own firm and her own scars from a broken engagement. We take things slow, neither of us eager to repeat past mistakes. She pays for her own dinners half the time, has her own place, her own life that intersects with mine but doesn't depend on it. When she stays over, she cooks breakfast. When I stay at hers, I fix things that break. Balance, partnership, words that mean something. The updates about Rachel come sporadically, through mutual acquaintances who think I want to know. She's still living with a distant cousin in another state, still working retail. Her Instagram, what's left of it, shows forced smiles and motivational quotes about new beginnings that get 3 likes. Her parents maintain their silence. Derek Lawson disappeared entirely, probably reinventing himself in another city where the video hasn't circulated. I don't feel vindicated when I hear these things. I don't feel anything. She's become what she always was. Someone else's problem, her own problem, a cautionary tale I occasionally share when someone needs to hear it. The house is mine. Every mortgage payment, every improvement, every memory I choose to keep or discard. The life is mine, built on my terms, with my effort, surrounded by people who match my energy instead of draining it. My phone buzzes. Elena, texting about dinner plans. I smile. A real smile, not the performance I'd perfected during my marriage. Tonight we're trying that new Italian place downtown. She'll drive herself. Meet me there. We'll split the check or she'll insist on paying because I got it last time. We'll go home to our separate places unless one of us suggests otherwise. No obligations. No lies. No pretense. Just 2 people choosing each other, one honest day at a time. I close my laptop, head inside to shower before my morning run. In the mirror, I see a man I recognize again. Older, some new lines around my eyes, but clear present. Whole. The man Rachel broke is gone. The man who emerged is better, and he's never looking back.